Guys, it happened suddenly and coldly on a winter's day. Horizon Hunter, what's it called? Hunter's Gathering. I already forgot. It's here. They revealed it. I thought they would wait for like a state of play, honestly. I'm genuinely surprised that they dropped it the way that they did. But here we are. They officially revealed Horizon Hunter's Gathering. And I did kind of a knee-jerk reaction to it in my car yesterday, sitting outside the gym. And I quickly watched it on my phone, and then I ran in and hyperventilated while paying for it. But now that I've had the time to actually look at it, I wanted to circle back to it because people have had about a day to settle with it and think about it, process it. A lot of the comparisons being raised are like to games like Dauntless, which is dead now. Looks like a mobile game. What's funny? I'll get to why that's funny. Okay, I'll I'll get to why that's funny, what you just said. I will say at the outset, we've been following this for like years, okay? For years. And so for us, it was not a surprise because we knew this was happening. It leaked like 3 years ago, 3 to 4, I think 4 years ago actually now. There were all sorts of in development leaked footage and stuff. So we knew about this. We also knew the art style was going to be way more cartoony than grounded in the Horizon universe. And let me be clear, it seems like the reason that they did that, at least the reason that was assumed, was because of the difficulty of making a game cooperative and multiple players while maintaining the same visual fidelity that they achieved in Horizon Forbidden West and Horizon Zero Dawn. And so they chose to go with the more stylized art style to, one, differentiate it from those games, but also to help it run better. That narrative has kind of fallen apart for reasons we'll describe in a minute. One thing I do want to nip in the bud before we get further, though, is something that people have been pointing out. I just randomly paused this screenshot in a freeze frame. Other people did as well, and they noticed something strange. And people took to Twitter to conclude the whole trailer is AI generated, which it's not. It's not. But do you see why people think it was? Do you see why? It's because of this, okay? You'll see this all throughout the trailer. Why does the arrow all of a sudden have 2 heads? What? And as you go through the trailer, there's multiple times where this happens, especially in like specifically high movement shots where you'll start to see maybe a hand duplicate. You might see like a weapon get double, I don't know what I'm saying. I was about to say double fisted. That is not what that means. You know, the classic double fisted weapon, like the double face you see here. So people saw this and like, oh my God, it's AI generated. And I want to be fair. Okay. Like we have to be honest. That's not what this is. I am not an animator. I know it's shocking. You may find that hard to believe. I am not an animator. I'm not that talented, but people who are very talented and actually know what they're doing did make it clear to me that this is actually called a smeared frame. So like this clip was taken. Is this really just frame smearing and not AI? Not sure how the inside of the arm brace would show up in a frame smear. What do you guys think? So they're pointing to this shot where like the hand is duplicated up, but it is an actual technique that's used in animation for like high intensity, high energy shots where they'll start to blend individual frames together, exaggerating certain things to make the movement more punchy. It's an actual technique. It's used all over the place. It does not mean it's AI generated. In fact, it actually requires even more specialized animation skill. It's like the opposite of AI, literally. It's like more impressive than if they didn't. But I understand why when you pause the video and you see that, you might instinctively be like, that's weird. What is that? Why does he all of a sudden have 2 heads? But in motion, you don't notice. It looks good, which is, I mean, it makes sense. Trailers are meant to be viewed in motion. They're not meant to be paused constantly, right? So I want to get that out of the way up front. It's not AI generated, despite what it may look like when you freeze frame individual parts, okay? That being said, I also want to give them credit. I think that this art style looks significantly better than what I was braced for. I was braced for literal Fortnite with exaggerated body proportions of Sea of Thieves. They've done that, but with higher texture quality and some of this like hand-drawn kind of sketched texture work. And I do think this looks way better than I was expecting. The sort of painterly lighting, and I think it looks way better than I was expecting. That being said, what we're here to discuss is the game itself, okay? The game itself. And that's where I think people found this a little wanting. Interestingly, after they showed the trailer, the head of the studio comes on screen. I'll just let him explain.
Yes, we're going with a very different look here, and that's very much by design. Horizon Hunters Gathering is a very dynamic co-op action game. We've tuned the combat so it works really well for a team of hunters, and we believe that works best when supported by an art style that really matches that energy. We're going to be showing you more gameplay in a minute, so you can judge that for yourself. Now, one more thing before we continue. This game is still very much in development.
And we'll talk about that in a second because they've asked for some people to provide feedback, including somebody you may recognize, okay?
Now, at Guerilla,
this is also interesting. This is how they open this reveal.
We love exploring the Horizon universe. And with every new project, we ask ourselves, where can we take our players next? What new stories can we tell? And what new experiences can we create? And we heard many of you wondering, but what is Guerilla working on? And today, we get to show you. Before we dive in, I want to be very clear about one thing. We absolutely love making single-player games, and we're going to keep making them. They're a huge part of who we are as a studio. But next to that, we also had this long-standing dream to try to do something different. Our own take on how you can explore the world of Horizon together as a team of machine hunters.
Okay, so they started it by saying, we love single-player games, we're still going to do that, okay? And I think it's because they learned the lesson from, like, specifically Suicide Squad, where Rocksteady goes, okay, we know you guys love these single-player narrative games that we've made with the Arkham series. So we're going to not do that. We're going to do this other thing. They're intentionally coming out and saying, listen, we still love doing those games. We're going to keep doing that. Don't get mad at us, okay? We're still doing it. And I think that's a smart move from them. I also think it's just genuinely interesting because what do we know about one of the other PlayStation big multiplayer projects? We know that the Last of Us Online project was in the works for like 4 or 5 years, and it was eventually canceled. And when they canceled it, Naughty Dog said in their statement to the public that it was because they realized that they would have to become a live service studio, a studio to support that game. And that would mean they wouldn't be able to make the narrative single player games that they're known for. And so they decided to cancel it and move on from it, as if it was like this sudden realization, we're gonna have to support this for years. And so they said, if we have a successful live service game, we won't be able to do the single player stuff anymore. But Guerilla is saying that they should be able to, which is just interesting. I don't know what the difference is, why Guerrilla's capable of it, but Naughty Dog wasn't. I just genuinely am interested in that. I don't know. Now, one of the other interesting tidbits about all of this, look, we have Aloy. Aloy is here. I'm going to be honest. I thought this was going to, I thought it was going to be totally separate. The leaked art design made it look like it. I thought it was going to be totally separate. But they are showing that they will have some of the core cast from the other games involved here, but not playable. So the cast of playable characters you can see lined up here, and they're all original to this game. And Jor actually put something really, really well in his like reaction to this. Okay, I wanted to share it with you because I thought it was actually quite accurate. Okay, you should watch Jor's entire reaction.
To be honest, it's not a game I'm excited about. It's crazy that there is a huge, like a lot of people, that is I think also the sad part about this. If you are looking forward to Horizon 3, a lot of the developers that would normally work on these single player games are working on this. They got a ton of talented developers trying to make this game work that many tried and failed at. Like, it's a Destiny type game. You got your tower, you got a table, you select your mission, you jump in, you kill the enemy.
It's different though, Jor, because Herman likes this one. Herman likes it. That makes it okay. That wasn't the snippet I was thinking of. I think
this is not what I wanted. And okay, but this is what they're doing. What is next? And I'm really curious to hear your take, of course, as well. I want to like go in with an open mind, but to be honest, it's not a game I'm excited about.
Yeah. I can't say I'm shocked that it's not up his alley. I will say his community is like, they're a big Horizon fans, and looking at comments was fascinating too. Bro's reaction throughout the trailer was just like, yeah, I mean, it's hard to get really excited about it. At least they're not announcing this as the one last thing at the PlayStation showcase, which I think might have been the plan at one point. But I think with all of this, when we look at the actual trailer and gameplay and stuff, it's still not super clear what the game is. Okay, it's still not super clear. I find it confusing why, like, to me at least, none of the characters feel like they belong in the Horizon universe. These characters are also like, this looks like magic that she's using. What? Like, I don't understand that. I don't know, man. It just does not look like I thought it would look, and it's very cartoony, and maybe they can pull it off. But I think the comparison to a mobile game is funny, because I see it too, and I think part of it is the outsized UI, the really big damage numbers, stuff like that does give you like mobile game vibes. And that's funny because there is a mobile game in development from NCSoft that looks like this. Jor posted a screenshot. That's what the mobile game looks like. I think that's the PC version of the mobile game, to be fair, but like, they were able to try and replicate the Horizon art style in the mobile game versus like the Horizon version of the game. What's funny is, like Jor says, never thought I would be more excited for an NCSoft Horizon game than a Horizon game from Guerilla Games, the creators of the series. And again, nobody's rooting for Guerilla more than Jor, and Jor's like, What's even more crazy is that Jor, and this is why it drives me crazy when people are like, Jor's just glazing them. Jor's like, no, dude, Jor is very level-headed and fair. We tease him a little because like he really likes Horizon. I don't think Horizon's particularly amazing, but like Jor is fair. And like, look at this. He was part of the Creator Council for Horizon. It's an amazing experience to go behind closed doors and get a very unique peek into game development. Very cool to see a trend and more developers bringing in creators for feedback. These are the people that they brought in. I recognize a couple of faces. Most of them are kind of fresh faces to me. But I've seen a bunch of her like YouTube shorts, and there's Jor. No shade to anybody else. I don't think I recognize anybody else, but they brought these people in, and even after being brought in, Jor's like, It's like the Jiminy Glick bit where it's like, hey Jor, what did you think of Horizon Hunter's Gathering? Let me guess. That's kind of where we're at. I think that honestly, the game probably does have an audience out there. I do think there are plenty of people who will look at this and will have fun with it and could put tons of time in. I don't think the number is very large, but I don't know how this makes sense on the scale it is. They've been working on this game, allegedly. I think the creative director has been assigned to it for like 6 years. Now, it hasn't been the full team working on it for 6 years, but the full team has been working on it since Forbidden West. Like, this, no joke, is probably well over $150 million project at this point. Like, this is a massive undertaking, a very expensive studio spending years working on this, and it could end up making buku bucks. It could also not. But I think that they're handling it the right way. For one, they say that they're going to get player feedback by doing a lot of play tests and previews so they can tweak the game into what people expect it to be and want it to be before launching it. I think that that's smart for a game like this with a lot of eyeballs on it and skepticism. I think that helps get the player feedback and adjust it. I just think like it's the tail of the PS5 generation and all of these Jim Ryan games. In my humble opinion, I'm down to try this. I want to give it a shot and maybe I'll end up loving it. I thought Dauntless was pretty good. Like I'm down to try it, but if I were in charge of PlayStation, I never would have greenlit this game to be made by our top tier studio for years and years and years. Like, I just don't understand it as a concept. I just think the odds of a 3-player co-op beat 'em up sort of game with Destiny inspirations, I just don't think I don't think the odds of that being successful are very high. And by successful, I mean successful enough to justify years and hundreds of millions of dollars, right? I just don't see that working. But this is the tale of the Jim Ryan era of PlayStation, is that he came in and circa COVID era, 2020, 2021, he greenlit all of these games with massive budgets And by the time he was out, they were kind of too far along to just walk away from some of them. Some of them, like The Last of Us 1, they did cancel and move on from, which, I mean, I guess they just decided to count their, or cut their losses. But with this, I mean, this is just one that they've decided to stick with and see all the way through. But I want to be very clear, because I've seen some misinformation going around. Some people said, this is just a small team at Guerrilla. They're still working on single player stuff. This is what they're working on. This is their game. Okay. This is the Guerrilla game right now. It's not a small team. Okay. This is not like 20 people working on it in a closet. This is the official Guerrilla Games project right now. Okay. They're very capable developers. They really know their stuff. They're very good at what they do, but I want to be very clear that this is their project. Okay. So anybody who's trying to cope and be like, oh no, it's a small spin-off thing. It's not. It's not. So there you go. This is in the works. This is happening. And I think that they're handling it the right way. They're asking for player feedback. They're going to try to adjust it based on that player feedback. The reception has been probably mixed, is the most fair thing. The comments will always give you a decent idea of where a lot of people are, but you know, it's still just comments. Thank you,
Velvet Patterns donated $10 through Super Chat. Why can't Sony just make a live service Sly Cooper game with new heists each season, co-op and PvP raiding of other thieves' hideouts? It makes more sense than a Horizon or GAO live service title.
Dude, that sounds fire. They need to hire you. That sounds awesome. They should do that. They should do that. Horizon Forbidden Purchase. I will say, I have the sneaking suspicion that they want to do a premium price tag on this. They want this to be like a $40 game, $50 game. And that changes the equation for me, at least. This is funny. Art style looks like a cereal commercial for Horizon Puffs. A little funny. Guerrilla Team, please blink twice if you are in danger. The bravest thing about this trailer is leaving the comment section open. Horizon Forbidden Wallet, Horizon Zero Players, Concord Trilogy before GTA 6 is crazy work. Who is the target audience for this? I think this is where I'm at. Okay. This is my main question after all of this, because I think the big miscalculation from Jim Ryan and Herman Holst throughout this whole generation has been, if you have a big IP that people like, we'll just make a live service game and all of those players will come and spend live service money on our game. But that's not how it works. If you really like Horizon Forbidden West, you probably don't really like 3-player co-op beat 'em up games. Like, it's just probably not your cup of tea. Like, I know Herman loves him some Horizon, but like, bro, I just don't see it. I just don't see how the math is mathin'. And I think you're seeing it literally with Jor's reaction to it. Jor is a diehard Horizon fan. We tease him for it because it's funny. But I love Jor. And Jor is very passionate about Horizon. He loves that franchise. And even he is like, I think I'm good. Even he's not interested in this. And he's supposed to be the foundation. I think that's the key miscalculation Jim Ryan made, was just that, hey, we will start with the guaranteed player base of the fans of the IP, but you don't, like, you're not entitled to that. It's a similar miscalculation that like Ubisoft made with Star Wars Outlaws, where they thought, hey, even if the game is kind of buggy and busted right now and needs another year of work, we'll just put it out because we'll have all of those Star Wars fans coming in day one. We'll be good. Why bother? You know, it's taking players for granted, I think. And I think that that's just the miscalculation. I think that this will probably end up being a solid game. I think that, you know, it'll probably be pretty fun because it seems like a decent enough idea. The question is, can this like end up being actually a sustainable thing? And that's where I don't personally see it. I just don't. It didn't work for Dauntless. It doesn't seem to work for many other games or projects, but time will tell. They're going to get player feedback and we'll give it a shot when they do a play test. I'm happy to try it, and I would love to be surprised and have a new fun game that's you know, a new addiction. But there's a reason why people's immediate reaction to this is, what? Because it's not what people are looking for from Guerrilla. I I think it may end up playing. I don't think it's going to play out as badly as like Suicide Squad did, but I think the general player sentiment is going to be roughly the same, where people are going to be like, no, we want you to be making that other thing we love you making. We want you to make more single player Horizon games. We didn't want this. You know, we never asked you for this. The NCSoft game, I think, is one thing because that's not interfering with Guerilla's stuff, but this is literally Guerilla's project. So there you are. And I think, again, it's no coincidence that they led in with this by saying we still love single player games.
At Guerilla, we love exploring the very clear about one thing. We absolutely love making single player games, and we're going to keep making them. They're a huge part of who we are as a studio.
I just find it so fascinating that that's within the first 30 seconds, they say, this is a one-off. Like, we're not going to do this forever. Okay. It's like literally, wait. Okay. So just chill. It's okay. It's just one thing. Okay. It's okay. Like, that's basically what just happened. But that's, I think they're just in a tough spot. When this was greenlit 7 years ago, this made a lot more sense. And nowadays it's just different, you know? It's just different. Adams Editing, thank you for the very generous 5 gifted memberships on YouTube. Appreciate you. Like Randy from South Park. Literally. I mean, that's basically what's happening. So we'll give it a shot, but I think realistically, I could see this having, you know, a core fan base of, you know, a few thousand players that like it. Or a couple thousand players that like it and play it pretty regularly, and it's their bread and butter. But I don't think this has a budget where that's sustainable. You know, it's a different equation when you factor that in. Because again, like the live service pursuits of Jim Ryan and Herman Hulst was predicated on the assumption that if you have 10 attempts at live service, if one of them pops off, you have Fortnite money and it pays for all the failures. That was like the basic napkin math that justified billions in spending. The problem is there's a wide spread of successful live service games. If your live service game was built by 10 people and it's like a constantly updating co-op game like Peak, for example, small indie team, and it's nothing insane, but it's a fun game to play with your friends. That works. Even if you only have 2,000 concurrent players or 1,000 concurrent players, that still works. When you have a team of hundreds of people that are industry leading veterans with massive salaries in a very expensive area of the world to live, all of a sudden the math gets really tricky. It doesn't work so well, you know? So there you go. Adam, thank you again for the membership. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Why did Hiroki Totoki approve this game? To be clear, so Hiroki Totoki was like CFO, and then he stepped in. He basically has taken over the CEO position, and he also supervised. And my theory is that Hiroki Totoki welcomed Jim Ryan to retire because it was right around the time he did a comprehensive financial review of PlayStation and was not happy with the results that Jim Ryan announced he was retiring. Coincidence? I think not. But I think Hiroki looked at this one and looked at some of the other projects they have and discussed with Herman Hulst what they should do. And shocker, I think Herman was like, the Horizon game's going to pop off. Horizon's going to be our Star Wars for sure. Naughty Dog, they don't know what they're doing. Cut that one. But let's keep the Horizon one going. I think that that's what happened. And so they let this one go all the way through. In an alternative timeline where Herman wasn't in his position, I think that this probably would have been canceled and they would have moved on and started Horizon 3 or something. But that's where I'm at. That's my sneaking suspicion. So we'll see. I think, again, the primary reaction you're seeing in the comments and stuff is because for the average person, they didn't know this was in the works. So for us, it's not that surprising. But for the average person, I think this game is a real shocker. Let's see. Everything is going concording to plan. Dude, it's so funny that Concord is now like a slur in the gaming world. It's really funny to me. Who is the absolute genius at Sony who decided every dev needs to make live service games? Jim Ryan, baby. Take a shot every time my character smirks. 15k likes, 30k dislikes. Oh, is that real? Is that where it's at? I will say the 40k now. Woof. I will say the plugin, if it's the Chrome plugin, I've tested it. It's not very accurate. Like in my experience, it's about doubling what the number actually is with some of these like mass downvoted things. So I'm not that confident in the number, but still, I think the reaction certainly is not overwhelmingly positive. Yeah, certainly not. Where's Killzone? Oh, who's gonna tell him? Who's gonna tell him? The Jim Ryan era was the most devastating thing to happen to PlayStation. Literally years and years of wasted time, resources. And what sucks is that Jim Ryan got to retire chilling, rocking and rolling, but the people that he was in charge of, they got laid off. They got fired. They lost their jobs. They lost their retirement accounts. They lost all that stuff. But Jim Ryan's fine. That's what really pisses me off about this stuff. It's why I'm passionate about bashing live service crap that should have never been greenlit, because this stuff should have never happened. And it's not the executives who will suffer when it fails. It's the employees who did good work. It was just an idea that never made sense. As a Horizon fan, it's a hard no from me. Thank you for the 2. And I think that that's the problem, is that Horizon fans that like the art style of Horizon and that like the single player narrative games, they don't understand what the hell this is, you know? They just don't understand it. And so I don't think they show up for this. So I think it's going to be like the Dauntless fans. And I think there are Dauntless fans out there who want something like this. And I do think there is a player base for this. I just think it's small. I don't think it's $200 million player base. So there you go. There you go. Jor, though, he's going to recover. I think he's going to be okay. But I did not have on my bingo card that Jor was going to be not about it, which is kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy. But yeah, that's what you get. That's what you get. Again, you should go watch Jor's reaction on Joraptor React. He has his full reaction on his main channel video. He has a main channel video where he also talked about it. Let's see. Yeah. So he also made a main channel video talking about it. So go check those out if you have not already. He took my thing.